Watch this video and watch me change my mind on the fly on today's Unnamed Real Estate Podcast. Hi there. My name's Charles Ray Dawson. I'm the Associate Broker Residential Sales Manager of ProStar Realty. This is the Unnamed Real Estate Podcast, episode 197. And if you're wondering what that little blurb was right there, that was me about to go into my spiel and suddenly realizing I don't know what episode this is. So I had to pause it real quick, look, come back. So anyways, I hope you guys are all having a good day this week after the election. Everything is starting to return to normal. And we had that election and Veterans Day festivities all piling up at the same time. And I had, my last veteran event was Tuesday. So, and that was, actually got interviewed by a young man at a high school who was recording for the Library of Congress Interview a Veteran project or something. So he's going to take that, do a little bit of editing, write everything up, send it over to me for proofreading. And then I too, my words, my experience will be recorded in the Library of Congress to be put in some dusty file somewhere right next to the Ark of the Covenant, to be handed down through the generations until some scholar centuries from now will go back and go, whoa, this guy right here, this Charles Dawson of Phoenix, Arizona, he could have turned it all around. Why didn't they listen to him? Oh my God, why didn't they listen to him? So, or at least that's how my imagination plays out. In reality, it's a thing. So I was actually quite honored to be asked to babble to some child for 40 minutes plus and answer those questions. And it's like, sometimes you ask me a question and it's like, okay, I can answer you in a soundbite, or I can get the whiteboard out and start drawing you pretty pictures. And then 45 minutes later, you'll have an understanding of what we're talking about. Right? So one of my struggles that I have on this program is I have things that I want to talk about and I want to get them out. I want them researched and I want them coherent and I want them interesting and hopefully entertaining. And then I go, oh, let's just do this. And then once I start getting into the research, it's like, oh, wow, this one's going to take a while. So what I wanted to do, and what I still want to do is Tuesday night we had our post meeting, and one of our newer members came up and was talking to me, and he really wanted to get involved in helping homeless veterans. And I'd already been kicking the idea around, hey, maybe I'll do an episode or maybe a series of episodes on homelessness, especially homelessness in Arizona. What's the cause? And I'm pretty sure a 6.25 APR for a 30-year conventional fix is not going to be one of those causes, but that's one of the things I want to discuss is, are house prices affecting homelessness? Are rents affecting homelessness? What percentage of people who are homeless are working homeless? All right, and it just priced out of the market. What percentage of homelessness are, the typical other, back in my days, like, oh, he's an alcoholic, right? Now it's like, okay, now he's a heroin junkie or fentanyl or whatever the drug du jour is. I just don't keep up with the pharmaceutical products of those crazy kids nowadays, I get wasted my old-fashioned way on really good classic rock and alcohol, all right? But and once I started breaking down and starting doing the research on this, it's fun. I've noticed that the different sources tend to emphasize different things. All right. There might be a little bit of politics, depending on who's putting out the report. I of course went to the handbook of the Trump second term research project 2025, went into the shadow, said my secret password. So I get the real copy, not the copy that you normies get, but the ones that your evil conservative overlords got. And I realized that their concept of homelessness was basically slurry for organic gardening. All right. So we might want to look into that, but until I'm authorized to describe those plans, we're actually going to have to go with the true issue and the true policies, right? Sorry about that little rant. If I have one more person come up to me and talk to me about 2025, and my stock answer is it's 2025 is real as Agenda 21. All right. And every once in a while people go, well, what's Agenda 21? I'm like, well, Agenda 21 is the Project 2025 for conservatives. That's the shadowy secret plan that George Soros and the Illuminati have to implement through the United Nations to make you all live in pods, eat the bugs, and be happy, owning nothing. All right. Ooh. And what disturbs me is that 1 out of 5 people that I just flippantly say, oh yeah, that's our equivalent of your Agenda 2020 and as bad as real, the panic expression they get on their face. Like, you'll just see the color fade from them, like, oh my God, he knows about 21. And he says 25 is their 21. You know, it's like, yeah, and everybody keeps trying to say that 40 is the new 30, and it's like, no, it's not. So anyways, sorry, rant aside, I obviously still have not gotten all the politics out of my system yet. And I am still waiting for that phone call saying, hey, Ray, we need to tap you for, Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, because I can't think of anybody else better qualified than me, honestly, but I don't get out much anymore. So let's talk about what's going on with local news. Local news is our inventory is still going up. We're hitting all-time new records. We are definitely in a buyer's market right now, watching people try to shift mentally over to what a buyer's market looks like when they haven't seen one. Sometimes their entire homeowning life is entertaining. We have real estate agents out there who are just like, oh no, I'm going to get listings. I'm going to get listings. Like, yeah, right now, I'd rather have a good qualified buyer in a decent price point for the neighborhood that they want. I'd rather have one of those than a listing that's going to sit there for, 3 months. But anyways, what we got going on, so local, blow through the numbers real quick. All right. So just so we can get this out of the way. Bunk. Numbers for November 13th, 2024. I'll hit this real quick. Our actives are at 21,688. Okay, we're up 390 from the previous week. New listings came on about 60 over at 2017. Contracts are down a little bit at 1,867. Our closings were at 1,187. Coming soon to an MLS near you is 518. And that number on the bottom right-hand side does not mean that we hang out with a certain National Socialist Workers Party or anything like that, even though, strangely enough, it did come up in conversation that is a gang sign for being a white supremacist. Okay, and I'm so glad that this channel is not monetized, because I would have just completely lost it. But yeah, our Comfort Report number right now is 88. All right, our supply is at 87.2, so we have 87 houses where we should have 100, and we have 76 buyers where we should have 100 buyers. All right, that's what's going on. Looking at our neighborhoods and everything like that. All right, Fountain Hills is still dropping. Chandler's still growing. Cave Creek is still going up. Phoenix, it's up, but that's almost like statistical noise up. All right, Tempe's up. Peoria's up. Everything else is falling. Your buyer's markets right now. All right, Surprise, Goodyear, Queen Creek, Maricopa, and Buckeye. And Buckeye they're down 13% month over month, and they're at 56.1. All right, so wow, they got 2 houses for every buyer practically out there, So looking along these lines, the other thing I wanted to point out in the local news is that everybody's sort of on hold right now. Now, remember, it was a CHIPS Act that started bringing a lot of these factories and stuff into our region and stuff, which is some of our business and job growth that we got going on. We'll see if that continues on. I haven't heard anything about the new administration doing anything to disrupt that. In fact, anything with the onshoring and everything that he wants to promote, it might even be better for us. We'll have to sit and watch that. On the national news, NAR let's talk about NAR for a second. All right, so Department of Justice is going after National Association of Realtors right now because of Clear Cooperation Agreement. And that is still up in the air. It is now in NAR's best interest to stall for as long as possible. They need to stall to January the 20th because 4 years ago, NAR and the Department of Justice had an agreement. right about this time 4 years ago, the Department of Justice quit picking up the phone and returning phone calls. They quit returning emails. They went radio silent, even though they had an agreement with NAR that everybody had signed off on. And they came back on January 21st and said, oh yeah, remember that previous agreement? No, that was then, this is now. And they just threw the whole thing out. So now it's 4 years later, this thing's still churning through the process and whatnot. God, isn't our judicial system just awesome? So can NAR hold off until January 21st when the new administration comes in and the new Department of Justice? All right. And wow, that's quite a pick to try to get in there for a Department of Justice. This will be a lot of fun to see happens. The sudden change in administration, and all of a sudden the government brings on a new personality. That's going to be fun to watch, right? Our NAR hit with three-way agreement soon as enrollment in Broglo, I can't say that word, builds. We got a new lawsuit. This one is actually out of California. A broker is suing NAR because California and NAR, it is a requirement for you to use their MLS to be a member of a local MLS or Association of Realtors, just like I'm a member of Phoenix Association of Realtors, makes me a member of the Arizona Association of Realtors and a member of the National Association of Realtors. All right, this guy is saying that it is an antitrust, that you make me be a member of this organization to use this public service. I'm sort of mad at this guy right now. I'm mad at this broker because that was my retirement plan, right? Because I have for some time, and I think I've even alluded to it here on this channel a couple times, that I sort of think that that was a problem, right? But you have to pay to play. You got to pay these guys. Like I said, this is the closest thing to a medieval guild that you'll see in the 21st century, and it operates just like the mob. If you're not kicking upstairs, you're not kicking. All right. So I'm really interested to see where that particular suit goes. So we'll watch this space because I'm going to be watching that article. So let's get back to the initial issue. What I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about homelessness. All right. The research that I've gone into this is going to take quite a bit of time, much more than I got. I did happen to find the report released last year, the December of last year, for wrapping up the Arizona Department of Economic Security annual report on homelessness, right? This being, November. I assume the next report is coming out next month. So I almost want to sit there and wait, push this off till next month so I can see that. In fact, now that I just said out loud, that's actually might be what I do. That actually makes a lot more sense if I can look at the 24 numbers instead of wrapping up the 23 numbers. But strangely enough, from our peak that we had in 2013, homelessness has been dropping. We did have a little flare-up during the COVID years because they were basically closing down homeless shelters and kicking people out onto the streets. So, yeah, maybe we will kick that off. So, now that I don't have an episode to talk about, how are you guys doing? But enough about me. What do you think about me? So, all right. I knew this one was going to be short, and apparently it's going to be shorter. Other thing, what you guys are doing is like, yeah, it's November. You should be Christmas shopping already. If not, get on it. All right. Guys, if you're trying to figure out what you're going to get your wife, here's the fun thing. She's told you about 3 times. You just don't remember it. So pay really close attention to what she mentions in about the next 2 or 3 weeks, because that's what she's going to want. All right? How do I know these things? Because I'm wise. I'm wise in the ways. Seriously. You do not get this kind of emotional trauma and scar tissue, right, without learning a lesson across the line, like watching children and pets around water, right? Not driving into anything flooded. I ain't going to do that again, all right? Working my circles, especially when you decide to wake up at 3 o'clock or 5:15 in the morning and start having a sudden anxiety attack because of bad interaction you had with somebody the night before. Okay, that's what circle work is for. Right? And always, guys, have a great weekend. I plan to. Catch you guys later.